our fifth video on this final installation of Luther's address about the daily importance of baptism. I referred to this in previous videos, but I'd like to come back to it. It was St. Augustine who said, as he's a church father from the 4th century, who said that everything that was designed in the physical world, or for the most part, designed by God, was designed to teach us about spiritual truths in time. And when you think about it, all of Jesus' parables, he would point to earthly things that we could relate to, like how seeds grow up into plants for the harvest and all. And he would take those pictures designed by God, right, nature, and show spiritual truths behind them. St. Augustine would say the same thing about baptism or things like it. And what does that mean? Well, here, you do this. You explain how taking a shower every day or washing your hands or face is created to make us think about baptism every day. What thoughts regarding our old self and new self come to mind with daily washing? If you haven't thought about that before, this is a great chance. What are we saying every time you brush your teeth? Every day. When you wash after using the restroom. When you wake up, take a shower in the morning or at night. What are we saying we can find as far as a reminder, a daily reminder about baptism and why? So you think about that. Let me read to you from two passages, John chapter 13, verse 10a, and then Ephesians 4, 21, 24. Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean, and you are clean." That's the reference of Jesus washing the disciples' feet. Peter objects and says, "No, don't wash my feet." Jesus says, "If I don't wash you, you can have no part of me." He's speaking really spiritually. What he's talking about is cleansing him of sin, right? So really a reference that you could apply to baptism. And then Peter says, "Well, then not just my feet, wash my whole self." And Jesus says, "Well, if you've already been washed, you don't need to be washed again." I mean, we would say the same thing about baptism. If you've been baptized and you know Christ, you don't need to be forgiven again through baptism. You're constantly forgiven. But what do you need? You need ongoing washing, in part. A daily reminder of baptism. Yes, you've been washed, you're forgiven, but regular connecting with Christ continues to put that old self to death, right? And then it helps you raise up that new self. So that's what Jesus is talking about, the ongoing work of sanctification. Take a look at our third article, Truth, as we define sanctification in full there, the two parts of being set apart for God, saved, and then our life of giving thanks. That's the ongoing washing. That's baptism. How about Ephesians 4, 21 through 24? "Surely you heard of the way of life, your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires." Or I'm sorry. "Surely you heard of him and were taught in him, in keeping with the truth that is in Jesus, to put off your former way of life, your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." So, again, you see Ephesians 4 saying, you remember Christ, right? Surely you're taught in him to put off your old self. That's a daily occurrence. That is the effect, the ongoing effect of baptism. All right. So hopefully you had a great conversation on, hey, when you shower every day, wash your face, brush your teeth, wash your hands, to remember the real cleansing, and that you continue to live out that cleansing by daily drowning the old self and living a new and holy life. That's why we never want to get comfortable with sin. We never want to cheapen grace. All right, some people have this idea that, I know Jesus, so I can live any way I want. No, you know Jesus, so therefore live how he wants. Die to the old self. Live the new. Live out your baptism. It continues on. We'll round out our discussion next time with our last video on this fourth segment on Luther's explanation of baptism.